Before we begin, be warned this video will include spoilers.
Hey everyone.
2019 will see everyone's favourite wall crawler return to the big screen once again in Spider-Man: Far From Home. Despite the character's current state. It still hurts. However, in this video, I want to talk about the Webhead's first solo outing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Spider-Man: Homecoming. Homecoming is one of the most interesting films in the MCU, because of its origins and the cinematic history of its lead character. As such, it has been talked about a lot, so if I don't specifically mention something, it's probably because I didn't feel I had anything new to add. There's no getting away from the fact this was the third Spider-Man film franchise launched in the space of 15 years. However, rather than ignoring the 5 previous Spider-Man films, Homecoming takes advantage of viewers' familiarity with the character's history. Much like Bruce Wayne's parents being killed in an alley, audiences know Spider-Man's origin story, so much so that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse makes it into a recurring gag.
My name is Peter Parker. I'm pretty sure you know the rest. I saved the city, fell in love, then I saved the city again and again and again.
This film isn't an origin story in the traditional sense. The spider bite, which gave Peter Parker his powers, is only mentioned briefly.
You got bit by a spider? Can it bite me? Well, it probably would have hurt, right? You know what, whatever. Even if it did hurt, I'll let it bite me. Maybe. How much did it hurt?
The spider's dead, Ned.
Likewise, Uncle Ben's death is only alluded to indirectly.
May cannot know. I cannot do that to her right now. You know? I mean, everything that's happened with her, please.
Okay.
Several scenes throughout the film are so reminiscent of iconic moments from earlier films, it's hard to believe the similarities were unintentional.
This is your chance, Peter. Kiss her.
Of course, what truly sets Homecoming apart from its 5 predecessors is its inclusion in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The prologue immediately establishes a strong connection to the MCU, beginning almost immediately after the end of the Avengers. The opening line of the film might as well have been Marvel's mission statement.
Things are never going to be the same now.
When the deal between Sony and Marvel was first announced, I really wasn't sure what to expect.
Well, those movies will all take place in the world that we are now creating for Peter Parker. I mean, there'll be adjuncts to it. They may be different locations, but it will still all be in the same world, and they will be connected to each other as well.
You can tell how excited the filmmakers were to incorporate Spider-Man into this shared universe. This film doesn't just exist in the MCU, it could only exist in the MCU. Granted, not everything lines up perfectly. The infamous 8 years later title card being the most obvious. What's especially baffling is the fact the solution is so simple. The flashbacks to Captain America: Civil War don't quite match up either.
Holy shit! Okay, so the craziest thing just happened, right? I started a fight with Captain America and I stole his shield and I threw it at him and he's big now, I gotta go, hang on.
But honestly, that whole sequence is so fun, it's hard to really get upset. Whether intentional or not, this shot of the Unisphere brings to mind young Peter Parker's retroactive inclusion in Iron Man 2.
Nice work, kid.
Despite its numerous connections and references to the wider MCU, the film has refreshingly low stakes. and is more character-focused. There are those who feel Homecoming is not a good Spider-Man film. Many criticize the fact Spidey's suit was made for him by Tony Stark, and claim Peter faces no consequences throughout. While aspects of Homecoming may not be strictly traditional, I don't believe these alterations are untrue to the character. This film is a coming-of-age story for Peter, as the character tries to find his place in the increasingly crowded and crazy world of the MCU. Tony Stark's line,
"If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it, okay?"
is not only integral to Peter's journey of self-discovery in this film, but also reflects Tony's own journey in previous films, particularly Iron Man 3. By the end of the film, Peter knows who he is, and chooses to turn down Tony's offer to officially join the Avengers.
Thank you, Mrs. Stark. But I'm good.
You're good? Good? How are you good?
But I'd rather just stay on the ground for a little while. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Somebody's gotta look out for the little guy, right?
Personally, I don't think the significance of that decision was undermined by Spider-Man's inclusion in Avengers Infinity War. He sees trouble and instinctively steps in to help. Of course, the situation quickly escalates far beyond anything seen in Homecoming, or even Civil War. And yes, Peter is given another high-tech suit by Tony to save his life. But none of that changes the character's arc or choices in Homecoming. Initially, Peter's motivations for being Spider-Man are selfish and immature. He just wants to have fun and be like Iron Man, which, for a kid who's grown up in the MCU, makes sense. However, as the narrative progresses, Peter is faced with increasingly difficult choices. Choices with real, often personal consequences. Yet he consistently chooses heroism over personal gain. Holland's performance is delightfully awkward, yet genuinely endearing.
What's up, guys? Forget your PIN number?
He also has the range to deliver a more emotional side to Peter when called for. The scene of Peter trapped beneath a pile of rubble is intense.
Hello? Hello! Please! Hey, please! I'm down here! I'm down here! I'm stuck! I'm stuck! I can't move! I can't...
The vulnerability in Holland's performance reminds you that this version of Spider-Man is still, in many ways, a child. Rather than weaken the character, this moment of doubt makes his subsequent triumph all the more effective. The cast is encouragingly diverse, without it being overt. Several supporting cast members have links to the wider MCU. Jennifer Connelly voices the AI in Peter's suit, which he names Karen.
Hey, Suit Lady. I kind of feel bad calling you Suit Lady, you know? I think I should probably give you a name. Like Liz. No. God, that's weird. What about Karen?
You can call me Karen if you would like.
Connelly's husband, Paul Bettany, voiced Tony Stark's AI, Jarvis, from Iron Man through to Avengers Age of Ultron, and now plays the physical role of the Vision. Played. Kenneth Choi played Howling Commando Jim Morita in Captain America: The First Avenger and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode Shadows. In Homecoming, he plays Jim's grandson, Principal Morita. Peter's academic decathlon teacher, Mr. Harrington, is played by Martin Starr.
As you know, we made it out alive, and that's the important thing. Couldn't bear to lose a student on a school trip. Not again.
Starr previously appeared as Computer Nerd in 2008's The Incredible Hulk. His character was identified as Amadeus Cho, aka the Totally Awesome Hulk, in the film's novelization. However, within the continuity of the films, it isn't too much of a stretch to suppose Harrington briefly met Bruce Banner while still studying at university, before going on to teach Peter Parker as a qualified high school teacher. This film achieved what both Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 failed to do: successfully balance multiple villains. The film features a total of 6 villains, including the Vulture, Tinkerer, 2 versions of the Shocker, the Scorpion, and the Prowler. The film wisely avoids the pitfalls of its predecessors by keeping most of these characters in supporting roles, allowing Adrian Toomes' Vulture to be the focus. The character was originally set to appear in Sam Raimi's abandoned Spider-Man 4, played by John Malkovich. Perhaps ironically, considering his wingsuit, Toomes is a very grounded villain. His motivations are clear, and apart from being somewhat morally misguided, makes sense. The reveal that Toombs is also the father of Peter's crush, Liz, is both genuinely surprising and highly effective, and leads to a fantastically tense scene between the film's hero and villain.
I bet you're glad when your old pal Spider-Man showed up in the elevator, though.
Yeah, well, I actually didn't go up. I saw it off on the ground. Very lucky that he was there that day.
Good old Spider-Man.
Michael Keaton is a scary guy.
Don't mess with me, kid.
Why?
Because I'm Batman!
At the end of the film, 5 of the 6 villains are still alive, with at least 2 of them still at large, allowing them to potentially return in future sequels. J.K. Simmons had reportedly expressed interest in reprising his role as J. Jonah Jameson. However, any chance of this happening fell through when he was cast as Commissioner Gordon in Justice League.
You serious?
Director John Watts has made no secret of taking inspiration from John Hughes films, such as Ferris Bueller's Day Off. In fact, the cast were reportedly put through John Hughes boot camp, being told to watch through his filmography. I know it's been said 1,000 times, but this version of Peter Parker actually feels like a teenager.
This kid treating me like a kid all the time. It's not cool.
But you are a kid.
Yeah, a kid who can stop a bus with his bare hands.
Tom Holland is the youngest actor to play the role, but not by as much as people might think. When Homecoming was released, Holland was only 5 years younger than Tobey Maguire had been when Spider-Man was released. However, Holland's naturally youthful appearance helps. Midtown School of Science and Technology also feels like a real high school. As an ex-media student, I found the school announcements hilariously cringeworthy.
Rise and shine, Midtown Science and Technology.
Students, don't forget about your homecoming tickets. Do you have a date for homecoming?
Thanks, Jason, but I already have a date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Each of the live-action film series have included a version of the iconic 1967 Spider-Man theme.
A Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves, or just flies all kinds.
Homecoming features a spectacular orchestral version, arranged by composer Michael Giacchino. Giacchino's score captures the fun and energy of the film, as well as its more dramatic moments. This new version of Spider-Man isn't to everyone's liking, which is fine. It's not like we're short of choices. I obviously love it, and look forward to seeing where they take the character moving forward. However, as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Did you enjoy Homecoming? Are you looking forward to Far From Home? Which is your favourite on-screen version of the character? If you liked this video, why not give it a thumbs up? Maybe share it with a friend. Or an enemy. Either way, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to see more content here on Channel 73.